All right, everyone, back at it again, fresh out of work. Time to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the third video I've done on this game in less than a month. That is totally not like me at all, especially considering my backlog. Something's in the water. Things are changing, hopefully for the better. Now, you may recall, in my original first impressions video I've done on this game, I'm gonna come out and say it, I was not too fond about some of the stuff that I was seeing in this title. I put 15 hours, which is the bare minimum amount of time I put into a JRPG before I talk about it, and I really wasn't feeling it. It was sort of a chore to play. It was a very much so a slow burn. But this weekend, a paradigm shift occurred. The best way I could describe my update impressions of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is, you remember how a few years ago people, to damage control for Final Fantasy 13, they said once you hit chapter 13, this is when the game truly shines after you put 30 plus hours of gameplay? Yeah, bump all that nonsense. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the textbook definition of a game that once you get past the first few chapters, holy fuck, this thing starts kicking into high gear and punching you repeatedly with so much freaking greatness. I'm not even joking. I'm not trying to hype it up because y'all saw my first impressions. You've seen my tweets and posts on social media. This game right here is absolutely incredible. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my updated impressions, things that have changed from 15 hours to now 30 plus hours into the game and a couple of chapters later. This one, I'm going to get it out of the way straight out because it's something that still has not been fixed to this day, and it is a major factor. I already know I'm going to get a bunch of Nintendo-year-olds who are going to complain that I am a broken record and I'm just regurgitating stuff that I've said before, but the performance in this game is absolutely piss poor. It is still a train wreck, and it's something that shouldn't have existed in this title. I know that Monolith has released a patch. I downloaded the patch, and while it does improve the stability, it still drops to below substandard definition. And whether you're playing it docked or you're playing it in handheld mode, it is still an issue. It is still blurry, and you Nintendo-year-olds gotta stop damage controlling for this. This is an 100-hour RPG that you're going to be looking at repeatedly, and for it to have so many performance issues, call me a graphics whore all you want, it's called standards and expectations. In 2017, when you have games like Skyrim that are running so much more, like, it's just exponentially better on the platform, I'm sorry, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, no matter how new and innovative it is, it should not be having these issues. It should have been delayed till February if they're still having so many kinks that they need to iron out. Now, that being said, the rest of this damn game, this is going down as one of the best RPGs of the generation. And I'm not throwing those words around lightly because, in my eyes, there's only, like, maybe 3 RPGs this generation that are generation worthy. But this thing right here is up there. Seriously. Coming from a guy who loved the original Xenoblade Chronicles, this thing right here is just, there's so much that this game does better than the original. So let's talk first about the combat system. That was one of my biggest gripes, if you will, when I had my first impressions. I wasn't feeling the combat. The combat was boring, it was tedious, it was monotonous. I think everyone pretty much has the same opinion from the first couple of chapters, and it's what turned off a lot of people from this game. Guys, I'm here to tell you that if you can just get into chapter 3 and beyond, this combat system just explodes. Like, so much went into this system. It is so deep, it is so rich, it is so, I don't want to say complex, but if you don't pay attention to the 17,000 tutorials that they bombard you with early on, you're going to miss the sheer complexities that exist with this battle system. It is so much freaking fun. So I'm going to try to paint the picture for y'all with how it works, because I know it seems confusing to most. When you're playing the game, it's set up sort of like a quasi-MMO, something like Final Fantasy 12. This game is all about your arts and your special attacks. It's not necessarily about attacking in real time and doing all this massive damage like with other action RPGs. You're actually staying stationary for the most part. So you're stationary and you're doing your auto attacks. That's the main bulk of the attack that you're going to be doing. But the reason why you're doing these auto attacks is so you can fill up your arts. The arts are mapped to the face buttons, and you get 3 of them. You get 3 special attacks that you use, and you can customize them, and you can combine them together to do, differing things. Because the cool thing about these arts is that once they charge up, you can use them to inflict damage on the enemy more so than standard auto attacks. But the main draw of using these arts is not just to do the extra damage, it's what comes with them. Some arts have secondary effects. Like, for example, let's say you have an art that inflicts break. The main thing about Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which you guys don't understand, is that it's not about just defeating your enemy by any means possible. No, this game is all about setup. It's all about combos. It's all about linking stuff together. It's all about creating one massive chain to inflict massive damage. Because if you're going to be playing this game and just thinking, all right, just leave it on auto attack, occasionally I'll do an art, trust me, even some of the lesser enemies are going to take like minutes to defeat. And yeah, that's saying something, because if you time everything right, it shouldn't take more than a minute or 2 for just a standard enemy. But in this game, what you want to do is you want to set up your combo. So for example, you have a character that can inflict break on an enemy. Once you inflict break, you want to have a character that has an art that can inflict topple. And once you inflict topple, that's where they're in a state where they're weak and they're vulnerable, and you can go in and inflict massive damage. But it doesn't stop there, because you can chain that with elemental special attacks. Now, your special attacks are something that are mapped to the A button. And with the A button, from there, like once you inflict like an elemental attack, like let's say it's their weakness. Let's say their weakness is earth. If you inflict an elemental attack that's earth on them, not only does it cause more damage, but then it opens up the elemental wheel, which if you have a blade that has a different element and that element matches up with one of their weaknesses, you can inflict some attributes on them that can cause either more damage, that can seal their arts completely, that can stop them from calling in reinforcements if they're a smaller enemy. Like there's so much to this battle system outside of just, oh, let's kill the enemies here, because you really want to pay attention to how you build up this battle, because that's the way you have the most amount of fun. And it's definitely a sign of pride. It's a big accomplishment when you can pull off an insane combo and have all this damage. And when you are able to like chain all your blade combos together, going from one to another, it just flows so flawlessly. That's when you know you've mastered things. And it's not as easy as it sounds. You actually have to think about the certain things you equip to your characters that'll help in battle. Like you have one character that is primarily the tank in combat, so you're going to equip them with certain things that'll help them out with that. Characters that are just like straight up glass cannons, such as Rex, the main guy. So you're just all about the frontal attacks. And then you have your healers. You make sure that they're good as well. And then from there, you can like adjust what blades that they have. So like, let's say you don't want to carry all the elements. You can't carry all the elements, but some person here is going to carry the water element for you. So you get the opportunity to command them and inflict their elemental attacks, so you can keep going. My God, it is just... I know I sound like I'm all over the place with the combat system, but it is seriously so much fun. Like the lengths that you get to go to do these sort of things, it is night and day compared to the opening hours of the title. Now, I mentioned something about blades earlier on. That's something that I got a hold of later on in the game. The way you get new weapons in this game is done primarily through the blade system. And by the blade system, I mean you going around the world and collecting these core crystals. And with these core crystals, you essentially have an opportunity to get a new blade of some kind. It's completely randomized, so you're going to be getting a lot of different outcomes, different classes, different abilities, different things. Like, it's really, really in-depth, the differences that exist. Granted, a lot of the common core crystals do look the same for the most part. I mean, it's to be expected because there's so many variations. But they do have special effects and differences that exist between them. So it definitely promotes you going out there and getting these core crystals and just opening them up. Sometimes you get like rare core crystals, which give you a better chance of getting a rare blade. But it's not guaranteed. So you just have to play the game for what it is. You can't go there and invest a lot of time saying, oh, I'm definitely going to get a rare blade here. It's completely randomized. So when you do get a rare blade, it's awesome. So yeah, that's something I do recommend a lot of people do. Just use as many crystals as you can. And the cool thing about it is that just because you don't get a rare blade, some of the common blades are really usable until later parts in the game, especially if you need one that has a certain element or a skill that you don't have with your rare blades. It's great because you can combo all those guys together for massive damage. And the thing is, like, let's say the blade is not a member of your main squad. They have this new system in the game called the Merc Group system, thingy-mabobber. And from there, it's basically like you sending out your blades on to do missions for you. And then from there, they can get experience, they can level up. They get you new items, a lot of good items. And it's just something that really helps level up all your blades, because if it was just standard like, oh, all your blades you gotta level up regardless of what you do, it wouldn't be much fun. But with this Merc system, you have the opportunity to complete all these missions and really help the overworld. And again, it's just something that actually feels genuine and organically woven into the story, and it makes a lot of sense because I don't want to carry out all these blades and have to level them up just for the sake of. I like the fact that I have this Merc system where I can go and send them to do these sort of things. And the level up system in this game is just freaking insane, man. Like, it's not just simply, oh, we're going to level up and it's a simple progression from 31 to 32, 33. No. You have to go into the system and you have to unlock the certain traits that you want to use for the certain characters. Of course, that's to be expected in a JRPG. But then the blades have their own unlock system that's done based off of affinity. So you have to complete certain tasks, things that they require, like kill all these aerial enemies here, spend this amount of money there, like little like subtle things that they require to get their affinity up. But it really does pay off, especially if you have a blade that you get attached to and the perks that come out of it. It's not just simply, oh, this blade is the best because of this. No, you can have this blade be the best because you unlocked certain things, and it plays with your assortment of blades in the sense that, oh, I can use this because it's very useful for this combo to inflict the massive damage. And then from there, man, going into the world and just going through all the towns and the missions that exist. The missions really aren't the most fun or the most interesting, but they do help with the world and what you're doing and just the bonus stuff that you get. Like, you can go to the shops, and when you buy all the items in a particular shop, you have the opportunity to become the owner of a shop, and you get like special bonuses that come with that. Like, it's a game that really rewards the player who doesn't just rush through into the end of the story. It rewards the person who's going out there and really taking the most out of this game. That's something that you don't really see a lot of in JRPGs. Usually the overworld is just something for the sake of, like, hey, we have this overworld and you can interact with the characters, and all you can do is just go to the shops and maybe go to the inn to level up, and that's it. No, this game actually rewards you for going out of your way and doing stuff. So based off of those things alone, I'm having so much more fun in the game than I did before. It's finally opened up. I'm having a lot of fun. There are a couple of things that I still do think are kind of iffy, to say the least. Like, the story, okay, the story is getting better. Like, I'm definitely getting more attached to these characters. It's great, and it is so freaking funny, but it's still not hooking me as much as the first Xenoblade did, if that makes any sense. I probably, by the end of the game, the more and more I get into it, I feel like it's going to become like, whoa. But as it stands right now, I'm still like, all right, this is cool for what it is, but the characters are definitely better. The characters are, like, they feel like they're coming into their own, if that makes sense. Like, they're giving them more to do, and it's not just, oh, we're gonna have you here as this member of the party because you need to do this. No, they just, again, feel like they're organically woven into the story, as opposed to other JRPGs where you need to have these characters here to fulfill this role in the party just because we need to fulfill the trope. Speaking of tropes, yeah, it's definitely more anime-esque in terms of performance. Very, very, very anime heavy, very cliche and tropey in that respect, but it's like one of those things where it kind of works. You know what I'm saying? It's like the aesthetic is off-putting at first, but the more and more you get into the game, you realize, yeah, these characters are pretty well acted for the most part. If you're playing the dub, it's really a hit or miss, but yeah, they got some good stuff to them. And oh, this person's kind of funny. Oh, he's kind of relatable. All right, that's cool. He's not as much as a cliche as I thought. That's basically what it is when you're playing this game. It's like the more and more you play, the more you learn to love everything about it. And other than that, I'm trying to think. Was there anything else I really needed to talk about? Some things I didn't talk about in the first impressions. Yeah, be careful when you're walking around. Just because you see a lot of enemies in your area and you think you can take them all, yeah, make sure you pan that camera all around, because yeah, there might be a level 81 creature just waiting to join in on the fun. It's like, hey guys, I'm here, I want to play. Yeah, just be careful. It wouldn't be a Xenoblade game if they didn't have level 5 pawn next to freaking giant dragons and stuff. Or giant creatures similar to dragons. But yeah, man, as it stands, bro, this game, like, my Switch is over there docked. I'm about to go play this right now. I hope y'all enjoyed this first impressions video. Let me know what you're thinking about the game down below. The next and final time I probably talk about this game will be when I complete it, so hopefully within the next couple of weeks, maybe? I don't know. From me for now, my name is NGS, signing out, and, like always, the music in this game is fucking fantastic. Like, bruh, it keeps getting better. I will catch you guys later. Peace.